Are auto rifles meta?
Law?
Actually though, they're better than you think. You see, when we look across the board at different auto rifles, from high impacts to adaptives to precisions to rapid fires, they really don't have bad time to kill values. Pretty much ranging anywhere from 0.77 to 0.8 second time to kill values, which is pretty good. It's pretty much in line with many of our other weapons. Now, 450s really haven't been exactly meta since Uriel's Gift was the meta back in year 1 of Destiny 2. Today's auto rifle is everything you wish Uriel's Gift could have been, and that is the Ammit AR2. This is a solar energy auto rifle and the precision frame archetype, shooting at 450 rounds per minute with a 0.8 second time to kill value, and everything on this auto rifle is beautiful. It is loaded with a number of fantastic trait combinations, which by the way can be enhanced through weapon crafting. Simultaneously, it comes with the Amelon Fluid Dynamic trait, where the top half of the magazine has up to an extra 20 stability and 30 reload. To make matters even better about this auto rifle, it only requires 2 deep sights in order to obtain the weapon pattern for this auto, which means it's a very likely chance you all have the weapon pattern here. With that being said, what is the god roll for Ammit, and is that enough to justify using this auto rifle in PvP and in PvE? First up, before we just get into rolls, I just gotta say, Ammit is fantastic. Its ability to snag shots consistently, especially against targets behind cover, blows my mind. It almost makes me think the weapon might be somewhat bugged, as it wall bangs way too often. Secondly, it's a solar weapon, and it can roll incandescent, and most notably, enhance incandescent, meaning a larger, lasting spread of scorch when defeating targets, which results in multiple explosions when you reach ignitions. And again, there's a number of different combinations you can go for that's really able to take advantage of this. Fragments like Ember of Ashes, Ember of Eruption, amplifying those ignitions and reaching more scorch. You can do Ember of Char, where those solar ignitions spread more scorch to affected targets. Look, we've known for a while Incandescent is a fantastic trait, and on this auto rifle, it's a beautiful thing to behold. Now, what a lot of people assume about Incandescent is that it's a PvE trait. However, I'm here to tell you guys, it's very much a PvP trait. There are many times I'm able to gain ignitions between a combination of enhanced incandescent with maybe a well-placed incendiary grenade, thus explosions. But even outside of that, just applying scorch to the next target allows for them to be easy cleanup after getting that first kill. Now, my particular role right here was the one I was the most curious about, and this one came with small bore, high caliber rounds for that extra flinch, enhanced surplus, which by the way, I really don't have values on in terms of how much is actually bumping our stats up. I know that regular surplus starts off at like 5 reload, 5 stability, and 10 handling at 1 stack, or 1 ability. Holding 2 ability increases that reload to 25 reload speed, 15 stability, and 25 handling. And then holding 3 abilities allows for an extra 50 reload, 25 stability, and 50 handling. Now, enhanced states that it substantially increases handling, reload speed, and stability for each fully charged ability. And substantially normally means, well, substantially, which we could be looking potentially at like max stats for everything, considering that Amelon Fluid Dynamics already gives us 20 stability and 30 reload speed. On top of whatever enhanced surplus is granting us, we could be looking at max stability and max reload speed even as early as like 2 stacks, which considering how much I'm using abilities these days, I normally stay around 2 abilities most of the time. Now, I will say my playtime with Ammit and this particular role was fantastic. The handling felt good. It almost made the auto rifle feel like a lightweight weapon. That bump there in stability was fantastic in combination with Incandescent, which was spreading scorch to nearby targets. This was a wonderful role. However, I did want to try enhanced tap the trigger in combination with enhanced surplus. Now, enhanced tap the trigger increases our initial accuracy and stability upon firing, and it has a lot of benefits, including that reduction in recoil kick. It affects accuracy cones, and it's like a whopping 40 stability. Honestly, I couldn't really feel tap the trigger, guys. Enhanced surplus was doing so much for me already. Sure, I know it helps with that accuracy cone, but the mitigation and recoil that surplus already provided, especially enhanced surplus, I didn't think that tap the trigger was a noticeable trait. So in my opinion, one or the other. And the more I play with this role, the more I wish I just had enhanced incandescent back on my roll, which is going to cost me a nice 2,000 neutral elements. Thank you, Bungie. But enhanced surplus, enhanced incandescent, that is a fantastic trait combination that I quickly fell in love with. And if you were going to roll something like tap the trigger, maybe tap the trigger dynamic sway would be a very good option. You have tap the trigger, which is helping you on your front end, and then of course enhanced dynamic sway rapidly improves accuracy and stability while continuously holding down the trigger, so it will kick in even faster. And And again, base dynamic sway takes about 0.6 seconds to maximize its effect for things like that increase in accuracy and that plus 10 there in stability. And again, the big benefits with dynamic sway reduction is that it almost completely negates the effect of bloom. Having enhanced dynamic sway would allow for that to occur more rapidly. So by the time tap the trigger wears off, dynamic sway should be kicking in. That too is also a fantastic combination. There are multiple consistency rolls here that makes this auto rifle phenomenal. Now, being a 450 round per minute auto rifle, it's got some reach, man. Like looking across the board, if you were to have like Hammerforge rifling, a range boosting perk like high caliber rounds or ricochet rounds, I like high caliber. I don't think we need the extra stability considering we have things like surplus or even tap the trigger. And I had a range masterwork on mine as well. And again, Omlon fluid dynamics is really stabilizing the weapon on that front end. So again, that leans more into that enhanced dynamic sway reduction. This weapon does reach up to 33.75 meters. Now, another 450 I'm going to bring up that is fantastic that a lot of people have probably forgotten about is actually Tigerspite. I know. When was the last time you heard that weapon? Look, don't kid yourself, guys. Tigerspite is arguably one of the best 450s in the game, primarily because it can roll with things like rangefinder and surplus, and it has pretty good base stats. I also really like its reticle. We did a review on it a while back, and it was one of the few 450s that can still hang in the sandbox. Its max range that it can reach up to, at least comfortably without hurting stability, is around 35 meters, whereas Ammit here reaches up to about 33.75 meters. It's not much less, and the main reason why Tigerspite is able to reach past that point is because of rangefinder. However, despite how much I love Tigerspite, Ammit though is the superior auto rifle for both PvE and for PvP. Like I know we've been speaking from a PvP perspective right now, but inside of PvE, Ambitious Assassin, Incandescent, hell, you can still rock stats for all Incandescent, which would pretty much proc all the time. You've got one for all, stats for all. You can still rock enhanced surplus. You've also got Adrenaline Junkie. Pugilist is also present on this weapon, which is all right if you're rocking a melee-based build, but granted, this is an auto rifle that just simply boosts the handling, and I already feel like perks like surplus is already boosting that enough. The main selling point for this auto rifle in PvE is, again, enhanced Incandescent, which is a huge selling point. For Solo 3.0, it's fantastic. There were times, though, that I was applying scorched enemies, and like ignitions weren't happening at the rate that I would have preferred. It was like it was bugging out, but again, that's one of those things, especially if you're team firing. If your friends or blueberries are killing enemies before you can actually get the ignition off, you just won't see the kabloomies, which is kind of a letdown. But when it does happen, oh, it's beautiful. Overall, guys, this auto rifle is fantastic. It's an S-tier auto rifle. It has revived an archetype that many have lost faith in. So whether you're going enhanced surplus with enhanced incandescent or that enhanced tap the trigger, enhanced dynamic sway, you have a weapon that will consistently get that 0.8 second time to kill value. And nothing feels better than spread and scorch in both PvE and inside of PvP. So guys, try it out for yourself. I know it's an auto rifle and everybody's like, Cross, we're not even in an auto rifle meta. Yo, it hangs. That's what's so amazing about this, is that it actually hangs. Imagine if we got a 450 round per minute auto rifle buff, which would make Ammit absolutely disgusting. Now, before I let you go, someone's gonna ask, Cross, why didn't you talk about Gutshot Straight? Well, we recently reviewed the Iron Banner sidearm, and fellas, I just wasn't impressed with that trait. Granted, the enhanced version doesn't decrease your target acquisition as much, but I just don't like perks that hurt your target acquisition at all. On top of that, Gutshot Straight for an auto rifle is only a 10% buff versus the 20% for things like bows and hand cannons, meaning our body shot damage does go up, but only to 22. It's not a substantial buff. This archetype of auto rifle does require 6 crits in one body, and going to 22 pretty much will allow you to kill guardians, 5 crits, 2 body, roughly around 6 to 7 resilience or less. But is it worth the trade-off? Is it worth losing that target acquisition? To me, guys, it's just not. Even the enhanced version. Overall, fellas, this is a fantastic auto rifle, and I urge you to get it. I know we're in ARC 3.0 territory, but break out those solo builds and get to scorching. Fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.